Hey folks, and welcome back to part 2, or I suppose actually technically part 4 of the SCX24 build video or upgrade video. I've just put some running footage on. I hope you enjoyed that. I was really happy with the way this was performing. So I took this out last weekend after I'd done that first set of, or that most recent set of upgrades from last week. So I've also, as you can see, moved things on a little bit. So I'll quickly run through where we've got to, and then I'm going to install the overdrive gears into the front. And I think that's the missing link. And then the final thing that I still need to think about a little bit is just softening these tyres up a little bit. They were pretty rigid, although they're very soft to the touch. They were pretty rigid when we were driving, and I think they could do with being a bit softer to provide a bit more grip. So let's have a look at where we've got to. So obviously we went through the chassis and motor upgrade before, and as you can see we're now on a new body shell. So I've gone with the cliffhanger body, and I've done a bit of a cheeky Toyota TRD paint job on it, which I hope you like. I'm really pleased with it. As usual, it's not perfect in terms of the paint job. I didn't really clean the inside properly before I started painting, so there's a few janky bits on there, but you can't really tell, you can't really see them. So I'm really pleased with how that came out. Actually thinking about it, that yellow is a little bit green, but there we go, such is life. So underneath that we've got a magnet mount on the front and a hinge on the back. Now I will, these are both 3D printed, so I'll put the files up for those, but as you can see, hopefully, let's hope that focuses up okay. The hinge just runs on one of the chassis braces, which I think works pretty nicely. It uses the screws into the back, and they're the ones that previously held on the front and rear bumpers, so we're reusing hardware there, which is good. And then I just quickly knocked up a brace plate here. There was a carbon fibre one there originally, but I've just mounted a couple of 6 by 2 millimeter magnets there. And then I've just epoxied a couple onto the body underneath there, and that holds it nice and snug. The battery wire's not in the way, and that's not going anywhere, which is really good. So really pleased with how that came out. Don't make the mistake I made, which was try and super glue the magnets onto the body, because all that does is melt the paint. I didn't think about it, so I'll use some 2-part epoxy, and that's worked really nicely. And that was a really simple process actually. The way I did that was I just put a piece of masking tape over there, put the magnets that were going to go on the body in place on here, and then literally just closed the body down where I wanted it, obviously with the blob of epoxy on the top of each magnet. Closed the body down, and then I just taped it all, just got some cheap masking tape, taped it all shut for about 24 hours, just let that set rock hard, and then everything's just nicely in the right place on the inside, as you can see. So that came out really nicely. I've also installed some 43mm telescoping shocks, and I've taken the springs off those and just running them in a full droop setup, because I don't really need shock absorbers as such, so I just need something to kind of help with the articulation. These are from Amazon. They're probably not the best quality ones. I'll probably get some better ones, but I thought just to give them a try, they would be worth a go. And you know, they're pretty good so far, pretty reasonably smooth. They don't seem to get caught up or lock up at all, so most happy with those. And finally, I mounted up the tyres. So I mentioned last time that I bought the Crawler Master tyres, mounted those up onto my existing stamped steel wheels, and they're really good. Really like them. They're not vented, and the wheels are not vented either, so that could be what's causing them to be a bit stiff. So maybe one of the options would be to vent the tyres, but I think I'm going to try and chop the foams down, or maybe get some 3D printing going on and 3D print some inserts for those, if I can find some online, that is. If not, then you know, there's an option of flubber stuffers, which I think is the best product name ever, but they are generally from the US and probably would be a bit of a pain to get shipped over here, so we'll see. So that's where we're up to. Final job now is to install the overdrive gears in the front, so I'll quickly do that now, and then we'll be pretty much all done with this. The only thing really, I suppose, after that we could do is to start getting into things like metal axles, brass links. There's lots more that could be done, but I'm not entirely sure it's necessary. We'll see, I suppose, once we've got everything in place. Now, I did mention before that I was having some problems with the top link here hitting the motor. Now, I've done a bit of research, asked a few people online who've got a similar setup, and they're having the same issue there, but it doesn't really seem to hamper the performance, and it's only hitting in that situation where both where the whole axle's gone up evenly. If we're in a kind of flexing situation, it's not hitting, and that's much more common than that, from what I can gather. So, you know, when you're out driving, you're much more likely to be articulating like this than like that. So I'm going to leave it for now, to be perfectly honest, and see how it goes. There may be a brushless conversion in this car's future, so we'll see how that goes. Right, let's get on and get those overdrive gears installed. So as I mentioned before, I've got these INJORA, I think these are the 212 overdrive gears, which should give me about 30% overdrive, which may be too much, but we'll find out. So in the gear set, there is obviously the worm gear, which is this one, and that will attach to the drive shaft, and then there's the traditional gear that goes onto the actual drive shafts, the axle shafts, and then there are 4 what I think are rubber O-rings. So we'll see what we need to do with those once we've cracked open that axle. So we'll go into time-lapse mode while we're doing all of this. Okay, so that's all finished. Fairly simple job. I do have a screw left over, which I'm mildly worried about. So if anybody happens to notice where that went, or where that came from, do let me know in the comments. I'm sure it was probably just stuck to a magnet and it's come loose when I've been messing about. But, you know, if you happen to see where that came from, please do shout. So I think that turning circle's improved already, and that's obviously one of the advantages of overdrive. It will improve your turning circle, which is usually pretty poor with the SCX24. Even with all the modifications I've made, I still don't get a great turning radius. So we'll see how we get on. Let's see if we can demonstrate the difference with some sticky tape. So just to give you an idea of the difference that overdrive makes, let's put that on there like that, and put that on there like that. So they're starting in roughly the same position, and as we move, there you go, one rotation of the back wheel is 1 1/3 rotation of the front wheel. Do another full rotation of the back. Okay, 1 2/3. Back round again. So effectively, for every 3 rotations of the rear wheels, we're going to get 4 rotations of the front wheels. So that should make a huge difference in terms of pulling it up hills. Of course, it can have the opposite effect on the way down hills. But hey, who goes down hills? It's all about going up them, right? There we go, job done. All the mods finished, time to get back out and have another go. I will do that as soon as the weather improves, because it's pretty miserable outside at the moment. Hopefully you enjoyed the video. If you did, don't forget to do the usual thing, give us a like, subscribe to the channel if you haven't done already, and hit that notification bell to find out when the next video comes out. All of that stuff really helps the channel, helps YouTube recommend the videos to more people, and helps the channel to grow. So I really appreciate those that do that on a regular basis, and all of you have subscribed so far, and welcome to any new subscribers. I hope you're enjoying the content. I will be back soon with either another SCX24 video, depending on how things go, or hopefully my TRX4M, if it ever finally arrives to British shores. But either way, thanks for watching, and we'll see you on the next one.